Here's an example of a Python program that uses a DB API library to query a database. Every time you use DB API from your code, you're going to have the following steps. First, we have import SQLite3. That's the library for the database we're using. If we were using PostgreSQL here, we would import psycopg instead. Next, connect to the database. The string cookies here is the name of the database to connect to. Yes, there's a reason I've put the name cookies in this example. I'll tell you at the end of the video, I promise. If you were using a database system over a network, instead you might have to specify the host name, username, password, and other information here. The connect function returns a connection object, which is good until you close that connection. Next, your code will make an object called a cursor. The cursor is what actually runs queries and fetches results. It's called a cursor because when the database gives you results, you'll use the cursor to scan through the results, kind of like a text cursor in an editor. You can see here that we execute a query using the cursor, and then fetch all the results from that query also using the cursor. Another possibility is to fetch the results one at a time using the fetch1 method on cursors. Now, if you were doing an insert query instead of a select, you'd need to commit the insertion here, or if something went wrong, roll back. Same if you were doing some other query that changes the database. Commit and roll back are methods on connection. In this case, we're doing a select, so we don't need to. I'll tell you more about commits and rollbacks a little later, along with doing inserts in DB API. Finally, when you're done, you close the connection. It's important to always close connections when we're done with them, especially if this code were running inside of a loop. We wouldn't want to have a bunch of stale connections sitting around taking up resources. By the way, I mentioned that cookies here isn't just to be silly. If you were to run this exact code against the cookies file from a Chrome web browser, it would tell you some of the web servers you have cookies from. Both Chrome and Firefox use an SQLite database to store cookies and web history.